Book 2. Now the rest of the gods, and men who were lords of chariots, slept night long. But the ease of sleep came not upon Zeus, who was pondering in his heart how he might bring honor to Achilles and destroy many beside the ships of the Achaeans. Now to his mind this thing appeared to be the best counsel, to send evil dream to Atreus' son Agamemnon. He cried out to the dream and addressed him in winged words, "Go forth, evil dream, beside the swift ships of the Achaeans. Make your way to the shelter of Atreus' son Agamemnon. Speak to him in words exactly as I command you. Bid him arm the flowing-haired Achaeans for battle in all haste, since now he might take the wide-wayed city of the Trojans. For no longer are the gods who live on Olympus arguing the matter, since Hera forced them all over by her supplication, and evils are in store for the Trojans." So he spoke, and Dream listened to his word and descended. Lightly he came down beside the swift ships of the Achaeans and came to Agamemnon, the son of Atreus. He found him sleeping within his shelter in a cloud of immortal slumber. Dream stood then beside his head in the likeness of Nestor, Neleus' son, whom Agamemnon honored beyond all elders beside. In Nestor's likeness, the divine Dream spoke to him. "Son of wise Atreus, breaker of horses, are you sleeping? He should not sleep night long, who is a man burdened with counsels and responsibility for a people and cares so numerous. Listen quickly to what I say, since I am a messenger of Zeus, who far away cares much for you and is pitiful. Zeus bids you arm the flowing-haired Achaeans for battle in all haste, since now you might take the wide-wayed city of the Trojans. For no longer are the gods who live on Olympus arguing the matter, since Hera forced them all over by her supplication, and evils are in store for the Trojans from Zeus. Keep this thought in your heart, then. Let not forgetfulness take you after you are released from the kindly, sweet slumber." So he spoke and went away and left Agamemnon there, believing things in his heart that were not to be accomplished. For he thought that on that very day he would take Priam's city. Fool, who knew nothing of all the things Zeus planned to accomplish. Zeus, who yet was minded to visit tears and sufferings on Trojans and Danaans alike in the strong encounters. Agamemnon awoke from sleep, the divine voice drifting around him. He sat upright and put on his tunic, beautiful, fresh woven, and threw the great mantle over it. Underneath his shining feet he bound the fair sandals, and across his shoulders slung the sword with the nails of silver, and took up the scepter of his fathers, immortal forever. Thus he went beside the ships of the bronze-armored Achaeans. Now the goddess Dawn drew close to tall Olympus with her message of light to Zeus and the other immortals. But Agamemnon commanded his clear-voiced heralds to summon by proclamation to assembly the flowing-haired Achaeans. And the heralds made their cry, and the men were assembled swiftly. First he held a council session of the high-hearted princes beside the ship of Nestor, the king of the race of Pylos. Summoning these, he compacted before them his close council. "Hear me, friends. In my sleep a dream divine came to me through the immortal night, and in appearance and stature and figure it most closely resembled splendid Nestor. It came and stood above my head and spoke a word to me, Son of wise Atreus, breaker of horses, are you sleeping? He should not sleep night long who is a man burdened with counsels and responsibility for a people and cares so numerous. Now listen quickly to what I say, since I am a messenger from Zeus, who far away cares much for you and is pitiful. Zeus bids you arm the flowing-haired Achaeans for battle in all haste, since now you might take the wide-wayed city of the Trojans. For no longer are the gods who live on Olympus arguing the matter, since Hera has forced them all over by her supplication, and evils are in store for the Trojans by Zeus's will. Keep this within your heart. So speaking, the dream went away on wings, and sweet sleep released me. Come then, let us see if we can arm the sons of the Achaeans. Yet first, since it is the right way, I will make trial of them by words, and tell them even to flee in their benched vessels. Do you take stations here and there to check them with orders. He spoke thus, and sat down again, and among them rose up Nestor, he who ruled as a king in sandy Pylos. He, in kind attention toward all, stood forth and addressed them. Friends, who are leaders of the Argives and keep their counsel, had it been any other Achaean who told of this dream, we should have called it a lie, and we might rather have turned from it. Now he who claims to be the best of the Achaeans has seen it. Come then, let us see if we can arm the sons of the Achaeans. So he spoke and led the way, departing from the council, and the rest rose to their feet, scattered kings obeying the shepherd of the people, and the army thronged behind them. Like the swarms of clustering bees that issue forever in fresh bursts from the hollow in the stone, and hang like bunched grapes as they hover beneath the flowers in springtime, fluttering in swarms together this way and that way, so the many nations of men from the ships and the shelters along the front of the deep sea beach marched in order by companies to the assembly, and rumor walked blazing among them, Zeus's messenger to hasten them along. Thus they were assembled, and the place of their assembly was shaken, and the earth groaned as the people took their positions. There was tumult. 9 heralds shouting set about putting them in order to make them cease their clamor and listen to the kings beloved of Zeus. The people took their seats in sober fashion and were marshaled in their places and gave over their clamoring. Powerful Agamemnon stood up holding the scepter Hephaestus had wrought him carefully. Hephaestus gave it to Zeus, the king, the son of Cronos, and Zeus in turn gave it to the courier, Argeiphontes, and Lord Hermes gave it to Pelops, driver of horses, and Pelops gave it again to Atreus, the shepherd of the people. Atreus, dying, left it to Thyestes of the rich flocks, and Thyestes left it in turn to Agamemnon to carry and to be lord of many islands and over all Argos. Leaning upon this scepter, he spoke and addressed the Argives. Fighting men and friends, O Danaans, henchmen of Ares, Zeus, son of Cronos, has caught me fast in bitter futility. He is hard, who before this time promised me and consented that I might sack strong-willed Ilion and sail homeward. Now he has devised a vile deception and bids me go back to Argos in dishonor, having lost many of my people. Such is the way it will be pleasing to Zeus, who is too strong, who before now has broken the crests of many cities and will break them again, since his power is beyond all others. And this shall be a thing of shame for the men hereafter, to be told that so strong, so great a host of Achaeans carried on and fought in vain a war that was useless against men fewer than they, with no accomplishment shown for it. Since if both sides were to be willing, Achaeans and Trojans, to cut faithful oaths of truce, and both to be numbered, and the Trojans were to be counted by those with homes in the city, while we were to be allotted in tens, we Achaeans, and each one of our tens chose a man of Troy to pour wine for it, still there would be many tens left without a wine steward. By so much, I claim, we sons of the Achaeans outnumber the Trojans, those who live in the city, but There are companions from other cities in their numbers, wielders of the spear to help them, who drive me hard back again and will not allow me, despite my will, to sack the well-founded stronghold of Ilion. And now 9 years of mighty Zeus have gone by, and the timbers of our ships have rotted away, and cables are broken, and far away our own wives and our young children are sitting within our halls and wait for us, while still our work here stays forever unfinished as it is. For whose sake we came hither, come then, do as I say. Let us all be won over. Let us run away with our ships to the beloved land of our fathers, since no longer now shall we capture Troy of the wide ways. So he spoke, and stirred up the passion in the breast of all those who were within that multitude, and listened to his counsel. And the assembly was shaken, as on the sea the big waves in the main by Icaria, when the south and southeast winds, driving down from the clouds of Zeus the Father, whip them, as when the west wind moves across the grain deep standing boisterously, and shakes and sweeps it till the tassels lean. So all of that assembly was shaken, and the men in tumult swept to the ships. And underneath their feet the dust lifted and rose high, and the men were all shouting to one another to lay hold on the ships and drag them down to the bright sea. They cleaned out the keel channels, and their cries hit skyward as they made for home and snatched the props from under the vessels. Then for the Argives, a homecoming beyond fate might have been accomplished, had not Hera spoken a word to Athene. For shame now, Atritone, daughter of Zeus of the Aegis. As things are, the Argives will take flight homeward over the wide ridges of the sea to the land of their fathers, and thus they would leave to Priam and to the Trojans Helen of Argos to glory over, for whose sake many Achaeans lost their lives in Troy, far from their own native country. But go now along the host of the bronze-armored Achaeans. I think I should have said Priam. Yeah, Priam. Speak to each man in words of gentleness, and draw him backward, nor let them drag down to the salt sea their oar-swept vessels. So she spoke, nor did the goddess gray-eyed Athene disobey her, but went in speed down the peaks of Olympus, and lightly she arrived beside the fast ships of the Achaeans. There she came on Odysseus, the equal of Zeus in council, standing still. He had laid no hand upon his black, strong-benched vessel, since disappointment touched his heart and his spirit. Athene of the grey eyes stood beside him and spoke to him. Son of Laertes and seed of Zeus, resourceful Odysseus, will it be this way? Will you all hurl yourselves into your benched ships and take flight homeward to the beloved land of your fathers? And would you thus leave to Priam and to the Trojans Helen of Argos to glory over, for whose sake many Achaeans lost their lives in Troy, far from their own native country? Go now along the host of the Achaeans, give way no longer, speak to each man in words of gentleness, and draw them backward, nor let them drag down to the salt sea their oar-swept vessels. So she spoke, and he knew the voice of the goddess speaking, and went on the run, throwing aside his cloak, which was caught up by Eurybates, the herald of Ithaca, who followed him. He came face to face with Agamemnon, son of Atreus, and took from him the scepter of his fathers, immortal forever. With this he went beside the ships of the bronze-armored Achaeans. Whenever he encountered some king or man of influence, he would stand beside him and with soft words try to restrain him. Excellency, it does not become you to be frightened like any coward. Rather hold fast and check the rest of the people. You do not yet clearly understand the purpose of Atrides. Now he makes trial, but soon will bear hard on the sons of the Achaeans. Did we not all hear what he was saying in council? May he not in anger do some harm to the sons of the Achaeans? For the anger of God-supported kings is a big matter, to whom honor and love are given from Zeus of the councils. When he saw some man of the people who was shouting, he would strike at him with his staff and reprove him also. Excellency, sit still and listen to what others tell you, to those who are better men than you skulker and coward and thing of no account whatever in battle or council. Surely not all of us Achaeans can be as kings here. Lordship for many is no good thing. Let there be one ruler, one king, to whom the son of devious devising Kronos gives the scepter and right of judgment to watch over his people. So he went through the army, marshalling it, until once more they swept back into the assembly place from the ships and the shelters clamorously, as when from the thunderous sea the surf beat crashes upon the great beach, and the whole sea is in tumult. Now the rest had sat down and were orderly in their places, but one man, Thersites, of the endless speech, still scolded, who knew within his head many words, but disorderly, vain, and without decency, to quarrel with the princes with any word he thought might be amusing to the Argives. This was the ugliest man who came beneath Ilion. Can you stop, please? I'm trying to record a video. I'm sorry, I don't want to hear it right now. John Paul and Rose, come here. Thank you so much.